Good evening, everyone. We're going to go on and I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Thank you all for coming out to tonight's first ANC meeting of 2025. We don't have a lot on the agenda, but we do have some very important items on the agenda. And we will start out with commissioner introductions, going from our left to our right.
Good evening. I'm Corinthia Simmons. I'm representing Single Member District 5.
Sorry.
And speak very closely.
Good evening. My name is Laura Finnessy. I represent Single Member District 04, which is around Lafayette Elementary.
Hi, my name is Peter Goslin. I represent District 6, which is largely the west side of Connecticut back to Friendship Heights. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Gore, and I represent Single Member District 01, and that is from Pinehurst Circle all the way down to Western and Oregon Avenue. Thank you for coming tonight.
Hi, good evening. I'm Liz Nagy, and I represent SMD 07, which is bounded by Military on the north, Reno on the west, Nevada on the east, and Chevy Chase Parkway on the south. And I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm Bruce Sherman. I represent Single Member District 02, which runs north of Military, bordered by Military on the south, Oregon on the east, Utah on the west, and Northampton on the north, and also includes Unicorn Lane and Oregon Knolls, just north of Tennyson.
Your mic.
Yes, all important light. Good evening. My name is Carol Grunwald. I'm the newly elected commissioner for SMD 03, which is bounded by Utah Avenue to the northeast, 27th Street to the east, Broad Branch Road to the south and to the west. And at McKinley Street, my district jogs east until Nebraska Avenue, where it continues northeast until it meets Utah. Very happy to be with you this evening.
All right, thank you, commissioners. We'll move straight into the agenda with announcement of meeting procedures. Meeting procedures haven't changed from our last commission term. We'd ask that for folks in the audience, if you want to address the commission, that you approach the mic. Always wait for the chair to recognize you before speaking. For folks online, if you want to address the commission, please use the react function, which is at the bottom of your menu. There's a little raise your hand function. That way the commission can recognize you or the chair can recognize you. We ask that everybody be respectful to not interrupt speakers, your community members or commission members. Commissioners and community members have 3 minutes on a topic, 1 minute for rebuttal. And we ask that everyone goes once before you go twice. And if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll address that. With that, commissioners, are there any amendments to the agenda?
Do we have the one amendment to remove the security fund?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we also need to remove the December 9th minutes from the consent agenda. And as Commissioner Sherman said, we are removing the adoption of a resolution approving the ANC's participation in the ANC Security Fund. Okay.
Right. So I just had to just raise my hand if I want, okay, physically, if I want to be recognized. Okay.
I've just, by the way, I've asked, if Louise can't move everybody, particularly the new commissioners, to the top of the screen, can you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now, commissioners, any other changes to the agenda? Okay, commissioners, can you turn your cameras on if you're online so we can move you to the top? All right. With that, I move that the commission adopt the agenda as amended. All those in favor, raise your hand. Laura, you need your vote. All those in favor of adopting the agenda as amended. Okay, 7-0. Thank you, Commissioners. All right, with that, we do not have anything on the consent agenda, so we will bypass that. And we are at the ANC 34G resident forum. This is an opportunity for residents to bring any issue to the commission that has not, or that does not appear on the agenda. We've talked to some folks in the audience that actually has some issues, so hopefully we resolve some of those. But if anyone in the audience or online has an issue they want to raise, now's the time you can do that. And we'll go online first to Mr. Wheeler. If someone in the audience has an issue, just approach the mic.
Hello, my name is John Wheeler. Fairly recently, I moved to Knollwood Senior Living, and we depend very much here on bus transit to get to commercial areas and doctors' offices in DC. And I assume that you all know about the Metro's Better Bus Plan. And in their latest, the approved plan, they, for both Knollwood and Ingleside, which is even larger, they've kind of given us a gift, but it's one that's not worth much. For Knollwood, we used to have the E6 bus, which connected Knollwood with the commercial area of Chevy Chase and Friendship, which is very important to both Knollwood and Ingleside, because that's where there are many doctor's offices, and as you can guess, senior citizens need access to doctors. And the other thing is senior citizens frequently don't have access to automobiles. We rely upon public transit. So during COVID, the E6 bus, which went from Knollwood to Chevy Chase and to Friendship, was discontinued. Under the new plan, they're continuing it, but it's very odd. They're not coming to the front entrance of Knollwood. They stay on Oregon Avenue, and many of the people who use transit at Knollwood rely upon walkers, and it would be very difficult to get there. And that's just something I think you need to be aware of. We, and along with some members of the ANC, are working to get that changed. And then Ingleside, they kind of got blindsided. They no longer have access to either downtown Chevy Chase, the Avalon Theater, that area, and Friendship. Their bus now goes down Nebraska Avenue, not even to the Tinleytown Metro Station. It just stays on Nebraska. So it's
John,
very
can I ask you to sum up, because I think the rules are 1 for community announcements, and you've gone well over that. I think we're pretty aware of the problems with the WMATA so-called Better Bus Network. But anyways, if you could sum up, that would be good.
Yeah, I think my sum up was actually shorter than that, but my sum was, I just wanted you to be aware of that. I'm not sure how aware you really are, but thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And actually, if you don't mind dropping us an email at 3g@anc.dc.gov, I will send you some documentation regarding where the commission is on the WMATA issue. And that way you'll at least know what we've done. And I will also put you in touch with our transportation group. They've done a lot of work on this too. And I know Commissioner Sherman is working on the Knollwood transportation issues. And at least that way you'll have some information on where we are with it. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Commissioner,
thanks,
just
Lisa. I'll
let
do
me
that.
add to that. John is a constituent. Hi, John. It's nice to see you, and thanks for bringing this again to the attention of the commission. It is an issue that we're very familiar with. Knollwood Management is familiar with it, the Knollwood Residents Association. Lois Callahan, the president of the Knollwood Residents Association, I think, as you know, is very familiar with this. So we are in touch with WMATA to petition that they continue to service the entrance of Knollwood and not just have a bus stop out on Oregon, which, as John has described, would require residents of Knollwood to walk all the way down. It's 300 yards or so down to Oregon. So yes, we are very well aware of that and are actively working on it. But thank you so much for your interest.
You guys can approach the mic.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, my name is Megan Gibbons, Audible. Hi, welcome to the new commissioners. I am a member of the Bus Transit Working Group, and I won't belabor the point about Knollwood. John described it very well. Just the fact that some of you are new, I wanted to say very briefly that our group has worked extremely hard. I mean, literally put in hundreds of hours polling your constituents about how important they think public transit is. And we really want to serve as a resource for you so that you could learn more about what we've learned. If you could collaborate with us or coordinate with us on WMATA, we attend almost all of the WMATA board meetings. We follow their budget very closely. We have contacts at WMATA and at DDOT. So that if you get pushback from them about what we're requesting, you can speak with more depth about what our residents are requesting. If anyone has questions, they can refer them to, I'll refer you to the Bus Transit Working Group. Thank you.
John and Megan and I are all on the same page. My name is Susan Greenhut. I live on Utah Avenue, right at Pinehurst Circle, and I'm a strap hanger. I take the bus every day. I count on it. And I've been following closely the changes that are coming to bus service in our area. And I hope you're genuinely paying attention to that too, and even taking the bus now to see the situation that we have and what the final plans for the Better Bus Plan, what that's going to look like for us. The changes that are taking place starting in June, as John said, people who live and work at Knollwood and Ingleside are getting the short end of the stick. Once again, it's still going to be a challenge to get to and from Friendship Heights. And I have to wonder if the parents of students at Deal, Lafayette, Jackson Reed, all the schools in our area, if they know what to expect. But fortunately, there's still time to make some reasonable changes to the Better Bus Plan. But someone like me, a regular strap hanger, I can't do that alone. So I'm counting on you. I'm asking you to help engage the right people, the ones who can help make these reasonable changes. Time's running out. June's right around the corner. I hope you'll make this a priority. Thank you.
Commissioners, my name is Chas Cadwell. I was one of you for a year. And I wanted to simply this evening congratulate you 4 new members on becoming a member of the commission and wondering whether you know what you've gotten in for. But I wanted to, and neighbors here certainly know this, but people online as well, the enormous amount of time this takes and the effort to get things done, even when you don't agree with each other. And even then, many of us won't agree with you. So I just wanted to thank you all for stepping up and doing this.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lee Mayer. I want to congratulate all the new commissioners and the commissioners that were reelected. I also want to acknowledge the passing of Jeffrey Norman, with whom I served on the ANC in the late 80s. He worked tirelessly for the community, and I think I just wanted to go on record, make sure people knew what happened, and he had passed away. Thank you.
Commissioner Gore, just to come back, since we've had several comments about the bus routes, to reassure members of the Transportation Committee and members of the public attending tonight, I think we are all, I certainly am, very well aware and have followed very closely the proposed changes to the bus routes. I have sought to inform my constituents through my regular newsletter as to what those changes will entail, what they mean. I'm actually encouraged by many of the changes in the bus routes. Just one little example. If you're a parent and you wish to send your children to the new MacArthur High School in Foxhall Village, the new C-85, which is going to take the place of the M4, will offer service all the way down there, and it's 5 miles from Chevy Chase. So those who are looking for an alternative to Jackson Reed would have public transportation as opposed to their parents having to take them 5 miles and then pick them up 5 miles. And if they're earnest kids on the bus, they can even do their homework. So there are lots of positive changes, I think, in that bus route. But just to reassure you, yes, I'm paying very close attention to it and look forward to hearing further proposed changes that we need to work on. So thank you.
Any more announcements? Okay. At this point, I see our esteemed council member from Ward 4 has joined us. Thank you, Janice. And not that I don't want to see you, but I really want to see baby Pierce. Is he with you?
I told his dad to come down at the end of this. So hopefully I put him to sleep, so he might still be asleep, but we'll see.
Awesome. Okay. Councilmember Lewis George is joining us virtually. She wanted to be here in person and she can kind of speak on that, but we're going to deviate a little bit, turn it over to the council member. She definitely wanted to address the new commissioner. So council member, go ahead.
Thank you. Happy New Year, ANC 34G. Thank you to every neighbor who is joining in person and virtually, and to ANC 34G for having me at tonight's meeting. I'd like to share a few updates on our work in the community and on the council. First and foremost, the snow, really quickly, DPW snow updates. DPW continues to make its way through neighborhoods to ensure streets are plowed in a snowstorm. They're also working really hard to continue to get trash and recycling, which they had to push back. And leaf collection is actually suspended until all roads are de-iced at the moment. So Section 4A, which includes Chevy Chase, Barnaby Woods, and Hawthorne, received its second round of collection at the end of December. Once collection resumes, neighbors can submit a 311 request to ensure any remaining leaves are collected. The second thing I wanted to say is my 5th annual listening sessions will begin this month. I've done this for the last 5 years, where I come to every neighborhood in person in the ward to talk about, to hear from you on what issues you have on mind for us to discuss for legislative and budget priorities. And so we are holding our listening session for Chevy Chase, Barnaby Woods, and Hawthorne on Wednesday, February 5th. From 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at St. John's College High School. So that will be in our newsletter. That will be disseminated. We hope to hear from neighbors. This is how I inform the year ahead as to what legislation I'm going to focus on, what we're going to focus on during oversight, and what we're going to focus on during budget. And so I hope neighbors will take this opportunity to come and let your voices be heard as a community, so we can shape sort of our, I like to call, everybody has their sort of New Year resolutions, our neighborhood community resolutions for the year as we focus in at the council. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Better Bus Network. So great on topic here. First, I wanted to just say thank you to ANC 34G, to the 34G Transportation Committee, and every neighbor who has advocated for fair bus routes during the public comment period of the WMATA Better Bus Network proposal. Your feedback was integral. The letter to the WMATA Board of Directors summarizing necessary changes to make the plan workable for the community was integral. I think together, everyone worked to advocate for a plan that meets the needs of Chevy Chase, Barnaby Woods, Hawthorne, and all of Ward 4. And there's more work to be done. We've heard, what we heard tonight is on our radar as well as on my radar as council member. And we're going to make sure that our residents, Knollwood, Ingleside, have the transportation they need. So we will be working together to advocate on all cylinders like we've done before. There was a time where they told us they weren't going to bring the bus lines back. So the work of this commission got that done. So I just want to thank this commission for your fierce advocacy, your relentless advocacy, because it works and it worked, and it's going to continue to work. So thank you so much for that. I want to update on council updates. As you know, this is a new council period. So there are new committee assignments. Each council member, and we have a new Ward 7 council member as well. I'm looking forward to serving as chair of the Committee on Facilities, which will have oversight over the Department of General Services and the Department of Parks and Recreations, which is new in my umbrella. In addition to that, I have the Office of Disability Rights and Services as well. And so there's much work to be done between DGS, DPR, and Office of Disability Rights in getting our facilities, all of our school facilities, our fire stations, our police stations, the places that we do work in the district should be up to par. And we're going to do a lot of focus on getting the agencies together as far as DGS and DPR on the same page as far as responsibilities. Other important things, the Committee of the Whole is going to be chaired by Chairman Mendelson, as always. That's our Education Committee, as well as our Zoning Committee as well. Councilmember Bonds will be chairing the Committee on Executive Administration and Labor, which has oversight of Department of Aging and Community Living. Councilmember Allen will continue to chair the Committee on Transportation and Environment, which has the Department of Transportation, DC Water, and WMATA. The Committee on Health will be chaired by Councilmember Henderson and have oversight over the Department of Health and its related agencies, including Department of Behavioral Health. The Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety will be chaired by Councilmember Pinto, and she will have oversight over MPD, OAG, and OUC, the Office of Unified Communications. Housing will be chaired by Councilmember Robert White, which will have Department of Housing, Community Development, and Housing Authority. Councilmember Nadeau will have oversight over Department of Public Works, which is where DPW resides. And the Committee on Human Services will now be chaired by Ward 3's very own Councilmember Fruman, who will have oversight over the Department of Human Services, as well as DC Public Library. Now that we have our chairs for each committee, oversight begins at the end of this month. We have not yet released oversight schedule. I hope it will be released by Friday. That is the opportunity for the public to speak directly to district agencies about the work that needs to be improved or the work where they did a great job and you want them to continue to do that work. Oversight is that opportunity. So I look forward to having commissioners show up. It's been strategic in Ward 4 for us to have commissioners testify at hearings, as well as the public. And then lastly, I just wanted to say a great welcome to our new commissioners. I look forward to working with you as the commission. You all are invaluable leaders in our community, and I'm grateful that you all stepped up to serve. In the coming weeks, I'd like to schedule one-on-one conversations with all our new commissioners to hear about your goals for our neighborhoods and the ways we can collaborate to support the needs of the community. So I'll circulate the link to sign up, and I look forward to us having our one-on-one conversations. And don't worry, veteran commissioners, you will have access to that schedule too, but new commissioners will have first dibs so we can have a one-on-one conversation. I just want to give a special thanks to also outgoing commissioners for their service on the commission over the last years. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and please know that you continue to have a friend and partner in the Ward 4 Council office. And lastly, don't forget Ward 4 office hours. We have them every week at Fort Stevens Recreation Center every Wednesday from 12 to 1, followed by office hours at Hattie Holmes Senior Wellness Center from 1:30 to 2:30 every week. And remember, the community can sign up for my newsletter at ward4news.com that comes out every Friday. You can also receive it by text as well by entering the specific phone number for that Barbara will put in the chat. So thank you all so much for having me. And I look forward to continuing to do great work, great advocacy, and delivering results for our constituents, because that's what matters most. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And before you jump off, just to let folks know, a lot of the conversations early on in the meeting was about the Better Bus Network. ANC 34G, under the leadership of Commissioner Nash and the the Bus Transit Working Group sent Councilmember Lewis George a thank you letter for all the work that her office did with us in advocating for the bus service here in the community. Her and her office had a lot of meetings with WMATA, discussions that I was involved with, Commissioner Nash was involved with. They attended and hosted meetings with WMATA. They really, really went above and beyond to try to correct the Better Bus Network's proposed routes, particularly in our neighborhood. So I just want to, say publicly, council member, thank you for your leadership in that. Thank your council office. And one of the things that, and she talked about the advocacy of the community. One of the things that they said, and I believe it was in the meeting that you held, was their minds were changed by the community advocacy. So don't ever think that your voices are not heard. And I believe Megan also said it very appropriately. The voices of the community really, really changed their direction with bus service in this particular ANC. So publicly, thank you, council member. We appreciate it. And as you heard, we still have some issues we're going to be advocating continuously for, but up until then, we definitely appreciate all the work you did on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody? Okay, so we are actually really on schedule. We'll start now, and I'm going to turn this over to the director of the Office of ANC. We're going to start with the elections for the 25 calendar year, and this is Kent Bates. Kent, thank you so much for handling this for us as a neutral party.
I always feel like I'm at dinner theater when I get a mic. So I'm going to move over here a little bit because I think they can actually see me online a little bit better. Hard? No, I'm not going to displace a commissioner from your chair. This is perfectly good. So good evening, commissioners. Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, or excuse me, good evening, community members. As Commissioner Gore indicated, it is now time to do the annual election of officers. Every January by statute and by law, every commission, all 46 across the district, have to elect a chairperson, a vice chairperson, a secretary, and a treasurer for the duration of the year. The offices of secretary and treasurer in this commission may be held by the same person. So if you want to wear two hats, no one's going to stop you. Nominations for each office shall be made only by commission members. So that's the 7 of you. When nominations are closed, the election shall take place by open vote, and the person who has received a simple majority, so in this commission, that would be 4, a simple majority of the votes cast shall be elected to that office. All right, so voting for each office shall be concluded before the floor is opened for nominations for another office. So that means we're going to vote for the chairperson first. At the conclusion of that, we will move to vice chair and so on down the order. So as the first one is the chairperson, according to your bylaws, the duties of the chairperson shall serve as the convener of commission meetings and shall establish the agenda after consultation with commission members. I'm sure there are other duties as assigned, but those are the duties in the bylaws. So hearing that, we will now open the floor to nominations. Are there any nominations?
I would like to, do we raise our hands or what?
I'll take
Okay.
nomination here and then nomination here, because I saw this hand go up and then I heard you speaking. So yes, Commissioner. Let me move over so I can see your name. So Commissioner Grunwald.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I nominate Commissioner Bruce Sherman for the position of chair of our ANC. Bruce's election to our ANC 2 years ago was one of the best things to ever have happened in Chevy Chase. He is an ANC commissioner par excellence. He is what every ANC commissioner should strive to be. He believes passionately in democracy and citizen representation. He is constantly informing and seeking out his constituents' views through in-person and Zoom meetings and emailed surveys. He scrupulously represents the views that he has collected. Bruce believes that it is the residents of Chevy Chase who should decide the future of our own community. Unlike some, this commissioner is not endorsed by or influenced by special interest groups. The last several years have seen unprecedented discord and division in Chevy Chase. The reason for this is that people, or the residents here, have not been able to genuinely participate in major decisions that will affect their lives and all the lives of all Chevy Chase residents. The way out of this discord is to not continue with the status quo. Rather, I believe we should elevate to the leadership position someone who was working incredibly hard to bring democracy and citizen representation back to Chevy Chase. For this reason, I nominate Commissioner Bruce Sherman as chair of ANC 34G. Thank you.
Commissioner Sherman, do you accept the nomination? Okay. Commissioner Simmons, I believe you had a nomination.
Yes, I didn't come with anything prepared, but I would like to nominate Lisa Gore.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Gore, do you accept the nomination? Okay. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Are there any other nominations for the, yes,
I have a
Commissioner?
question.
Yes,
It's Fennessy.
Fennessy.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's hard. Can I say something that's not related to a specific person nomination? Or
I'm
is that
going
for
to
later?
look towards the
I don't know.
commission for their practice, since the bylaws are absent on that. What, Commissioner Fennessy wants to know if she can make a statement not related to a nomination. The bylaws do not say that that is part of the process. So what has the past practice of this commission been?
We have never encountered. So the commission has never had that come
Okay.
up. And I'm not sure what the question is. I don't.
Then I am
Oppose her
going
making a
to
statement.
make
I
a
don't think-
decision
I
that
think
is,
that
it
we ought to
is
let-
out of
I
order.
don't oppose it.
Yeah,
So-
fine.
Well, it's okay that you don't oppose it, but I'm going to say, since this is nominations, I'm going to say that, yeah. Okay. Are there any other nominations to do this again? Because we want to be fair about this. Are there any other nominations?
Just
Yes.
a point that I think you might want to make to people is that when you close these, I think that a point that Kent ought to make to the commission is that when you close the nominations for this position, those are all the people who can run. It is not reopened after this. Is that correct?
That is correct. The vote is the vote. And if, depending on how the vote is, there's not another round that would include candidates not nominated right now. Okay. So now, any other comments before I ask one last time if there are nominations? Just so it's clean. Okay. So presuming there are there any other nominations? Okay, the nominations are closed. The two candidates for chairperson are Commissioner Sherman and Commissioner Gore. By a show of hands, all those who would like to vote for Commissioner Gore, please raise your hands. Gore. Okay, so we have Commissioner Simmons, Fennessy, Goslin, and Gore. Okay. All those who vote for Commissioner Sherman, please raise your hands. Okay, we have Commissioner Grunwald, Sherman, and Nagy? Nagy. Okay. So the conclusion of that vote is 4 for Commissioner Gore and 3 for Commissioner Sherman. Congratulations, Commissioner Gore. That is I'll just say, I know that's a bittersweet congratulations. I know how hard chairs work. All right, moving on to vice chairperson. The vice chair shall fulfill the obligations of the chairperson in their absence and shall perform such other duties as may be assigned by delegates or may be delegated by the chairperson. So with that said, are there any nominations for vice chairperson? Yes, Commissioner Grunwald.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Bruce Sherman for the position of Vice Chair of ANC 34G.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sherman, do you accept? Okay. Commissioner Gore.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Goslin as Vice Chair. Commissioner Goslin has served as Vice Chair since when? Couple terms now. And I would just like to say Commissioner Goslin has worked very hard for the community, very hard for the commission, has always performed his duties in an outstanding manner. He goes above and beyond in trying to listen to members of the commission, trying to assist members of the commission with their duties. He's performed duties that nobody in this commission wants to perform, including right now, webmaster. So he has been an excellent public servant, not only to his single member district and to the entire ANC 34G commission area, but he has been a tremendous asset to the members of this commission. So I nominate him as vice chair wholeheartedly.
You didn't wait for me to ask, but
What?
so
I
you
don't
didn't
know-
wait
I
for
don't
me
know
to
why I
ask, but that's
accept,
fine.
but I
That's fine. I'm glad you
accept.
accept. Okay, so thus far we have one Commissioner Sherman nominated, Commissioner Goslin nominated for vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, third time's the charm. Any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, so nominations are closed. We have two candidates, Commissioner Sherman and Commissioner Goslin. Commissioner, well, since you were nominated for chairperson, let's start with votes for Commissioner Sherman first. All those in favor of Commissioner Sherman, please raise your hand. Okay, I see Commissioner Finney, Nagy, I'll get it, Grunwald and Sherman, so that's 4. Okay, moving on to Commissioner Goslin. All those in favor of Commissioner Goslin, please raise your hands. We have Commissioner Simmons and Commissioner Gore and Commissioner Goslin, thank you. I was wondering if you're boycotting yourself. Okay, so the vote is 4-3 in favor of Commissioner Sherman. So congratulations, Commissioner Sherman, you will be the vice chair.
Let me just say personally, I really congratulate you, Bruce. I can't tell you how happy I am.
All right. Moving on to my favorite position, the secretary. Their duties shall be responsible for the preparation of the minutes of all regular public meetings of the commission and for making the minutes available to all the members of the commission. Minutes in draft will be circulated following minutes. Any changes or corrections must be submitted prior to or at the next regular meeting during which final approval will be made. Minutes are really important. They are critical. With that said, are there any nominations? Yes, Commissioner Grunwald.
I'm full of nominations tonight. I would like to nominate Commissioner Liz Nagy for the position of Secretary for ANC 34G.
Commissioner Nagy, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay. So Commissioner Nagy has been nominated and accepted. Are there any other nominations for the position of Secretary? Commissioner Gore. Oh,
I nominate Commissioner Goslin.
okay. Commissioner Goslin, do you accept?
Reluctantly. I've already done it once. Yes, I accept.
Okay. That was, had a lot of excitement in it. Any other nominations for the position of Secretary? Okay. Any other nominations for the position of Secretary? All right, seeing none, we will take the vote. And nominations are closed. Our candidates are Commissioner Nagy and Commissioner Goslin. All those in favor of Commissioner Nagy, please raise your hand. Okay, so I see Grunwald, Nagy, Sherman, and Finney. All those in favor of Commissioner Goslin, raise your hand. Okay, I see Gore, Goslin, and Simmons. So congratulations, Commissioner Nagy. You are the secretary. We will have lots of conversations over the next 12 months. All right, the final position is the position of treasurer. I would like to emphasize that it is the one position that a commission cannot operate without. And it's not just you can't spend money, you cannot operate. So the treasurer shall conduct their office according to the regulations adopted by the government of the District of Columbia. The treasurer shall develop an annual fiscal budget request on forms to be provided by the office of the ANC. The treasurer shall prepare and the commission shall approve quarterly financial reports within 30 days of the close of each fiscal quarter. And these reports shall be public documents and shall be available for public inspection. And I can verify they are. So that said, are there any nominations for the position of treasurer, Commissioner Finney?
I'd like to nominate Corinthia Simmons.
Commissioner Simmons, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Simmons accepts the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? Are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? So, since we only have one candidate, well, you could be elected by acclamation. I am going to say all those in favor of Commissioner Simmons, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous. Thank you. So Commissioner, well, I guess I could say Chairperson Gore, Commissioner Gore, that is the conclusion of the election of officers, and I will return the DS back to you.
Thank you so much, Director Bass. I appreciate everything that you've done for ANC 34G. Incoming officers, he is a tremendous asset. And as you see, he will almost drop a hat to come and support us. So thank you. Okay, and congratulations to all the incoming officers. I'm really looking forward to working with everybody. You will see that being in the executive committee of the ANC is a tremendous amount of work. We'll definitely all work with each other. I think we all recognize that we're not perfect commissioners and that there are things that are very positive about other commissioners. And I think we're all going to really work hard to take in some of the aspects that you might like about one commissioner, you might like about another commissioner to make this the best commission for this community. We are all committed to doing that. We don't do it perfectly, but we definitely strive for perfection. So I want you guys to all know that. We hear your complaints, we understand your concerns, and there's no one that I've talked to on this commission that does not want to address those. So we are going to work tremendously hard to do that. Thank you for your patience, and thank you. Good luck. Congratulations. And just to honor Commissioner Goslin as our outgoing vice chair, thank you for the tremendous work and service you've done. Commissioner Finney.
Hi, I just wanted to say that it was, I spent a lot of time thinking about all the commitment that everybody had and the different points of view. And then I thought about when I moved to Washington, like many people did, I moved to get a job in Capitol Hill, and I was going to be such a great policy person, but I ended up in the mailroom opening envelopes. But I had the privilege to work in the mailroom of Senator Nunn, who at the time crossed the aisle and worked on the Nunn-Lugar bill to stop nuclear proliferation. And then I was able to go work for Senator Feinstein at the beginning of her tenure, and she was able to walk across the aisle with Henry Hyde and pass the assault weapons ban. So I think great things can happen when we work together with people whose points of views are different from us. And this is a great neighborhood, and I'm looking forward to working together with everybody.
Chair Gore, could I just say one quick thing?
Yes.
Again, I want to thank Commissioner Goslin for your service. You have spent an inordinate amount of time dedicated to making this commission go. So thank you. Thank you very much. I also just want to recognize that I think there are about 75 people in the room and online at this meeting tonight, which means there are about 14,925 residents of Chevy Chase who are not part of this process. And so one of the things that I want to work on with all of the commissioners is what I would call growing the business. The business of the ANC, in my view, is community engagement. It's bringing people into the process. Last year was the 50th anniversary of the Home Rule Act. The Home Rule Act, as all of you know, I believe, established the ANCs for the purpose of bringing government closer to people and people closer to government. I actually firmly, profoundly believe in that and try to do it every single day as a commissioner. And what I hope that we can all do is extend the franchise, bring not just hundreds, but thousands more of our neighbors into the process. They're not all going to come to a meeting. So if they don't come to the commission has to go to them. And by way of using technology, online surveys, our own SMD, Zoom calls, other means and measures that we can take a look at to go out and engage people to solicit their views so that when we do pass a resolution with great weight, the city can know that it's not just 7 commissioners or it's not just 75 people in a room, no matter how esteemed all of you are, and you are, but rather it is our community writ large that we're representing because we haven't assumed we know what they think. We've asked them. And we have a pretty good idea what they think and how we then can represent what they think to the city. So I just want to say that I look forward to working with everybody to extend that franchise and dramatically expand engagement in the community. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I just want to thank Laura for nominating me. I don't know if a lot of you know, but background, I'm an accountant, compliance person. And so I didn't know if I could nominate myself. I was going to nominate myself if I could, but I just wanted to say thank you, Laura. And I look forward to working with everyone.
I just thank you very much. I just want to say I'm going to rely on the outgoing secretary for assistance in understanding the role that I'm about to undertake. And I'm really, really thrilled to be part of this enterprise of growing the business, as Commissioner Sherman has said, and making sure that we do outreach to the communities so that people can be heard and have their opinions count. Thanks.
All right, thank you, everybody. We're gonna continue on with the agenda. And next item up is the adoption of the 2025 meeting schedule. Commissioners, did you guys get a chance to look at the dates? Okay, we can always go back if we missed something. I think I tried to get all holidays and things like that. But so for the 2025 meeting schedule, right now we have January 13th, the 27th, February 10th, the 24th, March 10th and the 24th, April 28th, May 12th, June 9th and the 23rd, July 14th and the 28th. The entire month of August is a recess for the ANC, so no meetings. September 8th, October 27th, November 10th, November 24th, and December 8th. Are there any changes to those, commissioners?
A suggested change. I know we're negotiating around holidays, religious holidays in April, which is the reason why we're not having a meeting until April 28th. If we were to have the meeting, I need to be out of the country from the 15th to the 30th of April. So I'm just, for my own narrow selfish interest, if it were possible to have the meeting in April come before the religious holidays instead of afterwards. Either way, we're going to jump then a month to the next meeting. We're going to have a month separation either way, but I would just ask consideration for that.
That's fine. What, do you have a date in mind?
I would have to quickly look, but
I think April 6th is maybe Monday. Passover starts, I think, on April 10th.
Right. April 7th, I believe, right, is a Monday? Am I
Yes.
looking at the calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it could be, yeah, it could be the 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, if that works.
Is everybody in agreement with that? April 7th? Okay. April.
And just the
7th.
other note would be that I see we have one meeting again for reasons of religious holidays, perhaps in September.
Mhm.
Would we nonetheless, are we all okay with that? Because we will have not had a meeting for the entirety of August and business will stack up, potentially. I don't know if we need to put another meeting on the books now. We can look at it later if you want.
I would look at it later. And I'm thinking this year we're gonna have a lot of additional meetings with everything that we got going on Civic Corps. So if we need to add one, we can always add one. Any other changes, commissioners?
Yes, I would like to see if we can move January 27th to possibly the 28th. I have a conflict.
Typically, we don't move for commissioner conflicts.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
But I have a question.
Mhm.
So we just moved the previous one in April. Was that just for holidays?
For holidays, but
Okay.
the other thing I would say with the proposal for the 28th is on a Tuesday. All of our commission meetings are on Monday, and that's historical in our record. So generally, a regular meeting will be moved to a Monday, as opposed to another day in the week, just so we don't cause confusion, but. So the one that we just moved for April also occurs on a Monday.
I thought we added the April 7th, but
Yeah.
we were moving it or adding an additional.
Yeah, so we deleted or removed the 28th and added the 7th.
I think the gap between the 8th of September and the end of October is long.
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah.
So what would be your proposed date to add there? So just going back to Corinthia, does that answer your question? Is that okay? Okay. So what is a proposed date for September to add?
I need to check like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We need to check those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I should have put those in the agenda.
If anybody in the audience has them handy, we could take them there.
From 22nd to 24, right? Is
Yeah.
that what you got?
Yeah.
Or Yom Kippur?
October 2nd.
When is it?
October 2nd. So October 6th could work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
October 6th, commissioners? Okay.
Instead of the 27th?
No, in addition to.
In addition to. So Bruce, on the April, that was in addition to April 7th, in
Oh,
addition to?
No, that was a
That was a substitution.
substitute.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure. And then 10-6 in addition to. Okay. Any others, commissioners?
Can I just say, I do, as we move forward with the year, one of the great advantages of scheduling this all now is somebody, well, I'll put it in, Liz will put it in, but there's a very cumbersome process of telling DPR we need the room. And we can get it in, if we do it now, we can get these dates, but just be restrained about any special meetings that we need to do here, because getting DPR to add anything is a real pain, so.
I'd like to, and I don't know, now's the time to do it because we need to press on with the agenda. But just in terms of taking a look at meeting venues, in light of my interest in sort of going out to the community, we have a lot of institutions in our ANC that would be happy to host us. Councilmember Janice Lewis George mentioned that she's going to be holding a meeting at St. John's College. As many of you know, I've hosted numerous single-member district meetings at St. John's. They've been very hospitable in that regard, but that's just one. We could look at Knollwood has offered space, Ingleside. Obviously, there's the Lafayette Pointer Recreation Center. There's even Lafayette School. And of course, Chevy Chase Presbyterian, lots of venues that I think if we are signaling to the community that we want to go out to them, we should take a look at having not as many as possible, but maybe every other meeting or something on that order elsewhere other than here. Typically, most of these places, there's parking and the logistics will work out. Certainly at St. John's, it's super easy to be there for meetings.
Yep, I agree. Okay, Commissioner, so with those two changes, I move that we adopt the 2025 meeting schedule. And again, the amendments are as opposed to April 28th, we would meet on April 7th. And in addition to October 27th, we will meet on October 6th. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, 7-0. Thank you. All right. And at this point, we're going to turn it over to Commissioner Sherman for discussion and possible vote on public space construction permit application for 2728 Rittenhouse.
So many of you are probably familiar with the property at Nebraska and Rittenhouse that was the Dallas Dean house property. Dallas Dean passed away some months ago. And her home went into a state and it sold to Dillon Homes. Dillon Homes is now developing the property. It's the house itself is being gutted and refurbished, renovated. And then on the side of that, it was a double lot, if you know where I'm speaking of, at Rittenhouse in Nebraska. It has always been, for time immemorial, a vacant lot behind the property, which went with the parcel. That piece of property is now being developed by Dillon Homes and Cass Engineering, David Landsman. And David, thank you so much. Come on up, and David, you'll have to, and please speak directly into the microphone, but introducing David Landsman, he's a civil engineer with Cass Engineering. Cass Engineering is doing the civil engineering work for Dillon Homes for the property, and they have filed a public space permit application to execute, since this is virgin territory, a curb cut and a driveway. Let me just say that I have 3 times gone to my community, targeting particularly those in the 2700 block of Rittenhouse to ask if they have any input, any comments. I've heard from several neighbors. There has been no objection. The one comment that several neighbors have made to me is that it is a fairly wooded lot right now, and they are concerned about the loss of trees. We hear this very frequently in any development proposal in our area, but I haven't heard any opposition. So David can walk us through what they have in mind, and then if we have any questions, we can ask him, and then we can take a look. Sorry. The property is at 2728 Rittenhouse. And I was describing that if you are at the corner of Nebraska and Rittenhouse, that stone house, there it is on the map. But you know very well that old stone house that's been there for 75 years, that sits it sort of faces the southeast. It's on the property that way. That was the home of Dallas Dean. And the reason I keep mentioning Dallas is because we lived in the neighborhood 27 years. We knew Dallas very well. She was born in that house. So she was the longest standing resident in certainly my single member district. And she passed away in the summer, and the property again went into a state and is sold. So David, walk us through what you guys have in mind.
Sure. Thank you, Bruce. As you guys said, we're here for 2728 Rittenhouse Street. It spans between Rittenhouse and Nebraska. It's a through lot. It's located east of 28th Street there, and it's prior to the intersection point between Nebraska and Rittenhouse Street. Next slide, please. Here's a photo of the site facing south from Rittenhouse Street. As Bruce indicated, it's a vacant lot. It's always been a separate lot from the house on the corner, but has not been developed with any structure, so it's currently wooded. Next slide, please. It's a view facing the lot from Nebraska. This is looking north-northwest. There's a couple of heritage trees located right behind the sidewalk there. It's a busier street, as you guys are aware. It's your neighborhood. I don't have to tell you, but it's a double yellow line, busier street. Next slide, please. These are the existing conditions. On the left is the Rittenhouse Street. It's sort of a split screen here because the lot is rather deep. So on the Rittenhouse side, we'll be removing trees located behind the curb line, cutting the curb to install a new curb cut there where the arrow indicates. On the right-hand section, Nebraska Avenue, the south side of the site, we identify the 2 heritage trees to remain, and we'll be arranging all of our access off of Rittenhouse as it's the less busy street in accordance with DDOT regulations. Next slide, please. Here's our proposed plan. Shows in a little bit more detail what I just described. On the left, there's the Rittenhouse Street frontage. We're doing a new single wide curb cut or driveway apron there. It'll lead to a pervious driveway once we get past the concrete apron that's required by DDOT. It'll have a lead walk or walk leading to the front door of the house that runs parallel to the driveway. And we'll be planting 2 new street trees to fill out the landscape there in accordance with DDOT regulations. On the right-hand side is the Nebraska Avenue frontage. And as I mentioned, there's the 2 heritage trees there, so our work stays entirely on private property there with a small section of wall extending into the BRL or restriction area. That wall is approximately 3 feet tall, and it's going to fill in sort of the gully that's in the middle of that lot and smooth the grade between Nebraska and Rittenhouse. Next slide, please. This is just a little bit of an overall plan to give you an idea of what the scope for the entire property is. We're here to discuss the DDOT application as required, but the entire program is to develop a new single-family detached dwelling. The driveway will be on the east side there, leading to a garage. The home will have a terrace on the south side with the trees separating it from Nebraska Avenue. And then the larger gravel area that you see on the lower right-hand corner is our underground stormwater management system. So we're doing a new home in accordance with DOE regulations. We'll be containing our stormwater management and treating it on site. With that, I'm happy to touch on more detail with any of it or take questions.
Is that good? You good?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to recognize that on the call is also the CEO of Dillon Homes, Jahat Mimatoglu. Jahat, do you wish to add anything to David's presentation?
No, thank you so much. We are here to, we are already working on the existing house. I think we should be done in next 3 months or so. And we plan on developing the additional lot on the next door.
Great, so just a note before we go to commissioner questions. When I learned that the property had sold, I got in touch with Jahat to register a concern that we've heard in the community from many quarters, which is oversized residential development that's not in keeping with the look and feel of the neighborhood. There are houses on 30th Street in my district that have probably engendered more concern. I've gotten more calls about those 2 houses on 30th, almost at 30th and Utah, than any other issue in the 2 years that I've served as a commissioner. There is great concern in the neighborhood about properties that become homes that become too large and are out of sync with the neighborhood. Jahat gave me the name of their architect. I've done due diligence there. He and I have spoken, and he has plans for the house in addition to what they're executing here in terms of the curb cut that he will be sharing with me, and I'll be sharing those with the community. This is, to be clear, by right development. We do not have any say particularly over what he does as long as it's within the building codes of the District of Columbia. But he's been very generous and offering to share those plans to allay any concerns neighbors have about what's going to go in there. So I just want to let everybody here know, and the commissioners know, have been very attentive to this issue because it's one that neighbors are very concerned about. So any questions about what they have in mind?
I'd just like to raise a point. Jahat, I think you and I have dealt with each other before. I think Dillon Homes developed a house on Military Road in the 3700 block. And
Yes, sir, I remember you.
And you'll remember that in the early going, we had some problems. You tried to do a really, really substantial gut job with a postcard permit. And I hope we don't see that behavior again. Thank you.
You know, sir, I apologize. What happened there is, I have contractors and they like 7 or 8 of his crew were waiting for that permit, and we've been waiting and waiting. And he says, if you get me a postcard permit, I can start the work. And what he did is he removed the plywood from subfloor. He didn't remove anything structural, but you're right, we screwed up over there, we exceeded, and we corrected our our mistake. And I wasn't able to stop. They were not framing or doing any construction, but as you said, they removed the subfloor and that created us problems. But with this new house, I intend to build a really beautiful home. And I just worked with Christian Zapatka on 3 new construction homes in Georgetown. And I chose him because I truly wanted to be a beautiful addition to the neighborhood. And I believe we'll be in permits for next week. And we're paying the extra fees for the.
It's fine. It's fine.
Thanks,
I'm alerting Bruce and the other commissioners that I once had a problem with Dillon Homes. I expect we won't have one this time around.
I'll be on the lookout for a postcard. Other questions, comments?
I just think it would be helpful if people brought hard copies that we could look at. I'm finding it very difficult to see the details on the computer.
Right. Okay.
The permit is not it's going to permit, I believe, next week. And I have spoken with Bruce. I said, Bruce, once I have the plans, I would love to come and maybe send an email out, and I would love to do a presentation of what's coming and what are the materials and answer any questions. I think it will be fairly large set. Maybe we could meet in next 3-4 weeks.
Good, John, you and I will follow up on that. Other questions?
Hi, I have a question. I would like to know how many square feet your proposed house is going to be and how tall it's going to be?
I believe it will be 5,500 or so. It is, but the way Christian Zapatka, the way he laid out on the floor plan, the way he laid out on the floor plan, it's a L-shaped house. And we think it will not be an eyesore, and it's not gonna be a huge 10,000 square foot mansion. And we think it will be a beautiful looking house. And I'm happy to share it once I have the plans.
5,400 square feet is yeah.
Commissioner Sherman, were there any neighbors objecting?
No.
Okay.
So, any other questions, concerns? Yes, please come up to the microphone though so we can hear you. I know, but the people online can't. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. No, stay where you are. That's okay. We can repeat yeah, I didn't, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So I have a question for you in that. So the whole purpose of cutting down the trees is to make the house better, bigger.
Fit a house. So we have to create a room for a footprint for the home.
Where is the next group of trees of similar composite, oak trees, evergreens, whatever, in that area? How far away is that? Because cutting down those trees is going to cause a heat sink. There's no canopy, there's no cooling that will go through that. It's just going to be a big house. I- But those, I don't think there are very many.
There are two trees that are greater than 32 inches diameter, and we are clearing out the minimum footprint we can to build a house of this size.
Folks,
So-
you're going to have to each share the mic because nobody online can hear a word you're saying. And ma'am, you're not speaking loudly enough and you're not speaking into the mic. So that would be a good.
Thank you, Chairman Gosling. My concern is that in this neighborhood, whenever a house is sold, they just clear cut it down. I understand you're not going to clear cut it down, but I keep seeing trees disappear all the time. Beautiful trees, no reason to take it down except they want to put the driveway on the right or on the left. When they could have used either one of them. So I want that to be considered in all the houses that you renovate, construct in this area so that we can keep the greenery, the cooling, the beauty of this neighborhood. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
You want to come to the mic?
Let's try to stick to the 1 minute rule.
Hi,
okay?
my name's Tom Beckman. I'm interested, are you going to super insulate the house, namely not just meet the current standards of R19 walls and R40 ceiling, but are you actually going to do more than that? And then secondly, what's the exterior elevation going to be? What style? Or have you not decided yet?
So for the insulation, that's not in my purview. I'm a civil engineer. We do the exterior items of the site and home. I could get you the answers where Jihad can when we finalize the architectural details with the architect and the structural engineer for the project. I honestly don't know your answer. And the elevation, the materials, I'm here to talk about the driveway.
Yeah, just to be clear, this is for the public space permit application, not to discuss the house per se. Jihad has mentioned, but to your point, they are going to share the plans. And I'm as interested as anybody in taking a look at those because I represent the district and want to be able to share those with my neighbors, but that will be coming.
I think it would be nice if it more than met the minimum standards for heat loss and other characteristics. That's just what I'm.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Chair Gore. Since you seem to be taking questions from the general public, I am an SMD02 resident. And I have a question. You know, we've had a lot of conversation about affordable housing in our community. And here are 2 lots where you could build 4 houses, 6 houses instead of 1 residence. And I wonder, Jihad, did you consider a PUD application? And I know this is beyond the scope of public space, but we heard before your application for a curb cut on an alley that would have allowed for disabled access a little differently. I'm just wondering, did you consider building multiple units instead of 1 large house?
I would, and I checked it with the zoning attorney, and with today's codes, what I'm allowed is no more than 2 houses on that lot. I mean, existing house plus a new house that can be built on the vacant lot. I wasn't able to, you know, it's a residential neighborhood. You cannot put any, it's strictly for single family detached house. And the lot width and the setbacks will only allow us 1 house.
Okay, I call for the vote.
Second.
Can I just, so I understand the vote, we are voting to support a public space application.
We are. We're voting to support the public space application.
We don't have any text on that, do we?
We don't have any text on it, but I will draft the text following the meeting.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So I move that we support the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
All commissioners in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Anyone abstaining? 1 abstention.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
I need to see bigger hard copies before I can make a clear vote.
Okay.
Thank you. So the vote passes 601.
Great. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jihad.
Thank you, everyone.
Commissioner-
I'll be in touch with the plans.
Very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Sherman, do you want to continue on with the Murray updates?
Yeah, and I will try to make this very brief. So just for the benefit of the audience who doesn't know how what I'm about to describe to you actually works, when a developer gets a special exception from the Board of Zoning Adjustment, and the Board of Zoning Adjustment issues an order and they spell out the conditions, and in this case, findings of fact regarding how the development is going to take place. If the developer wishes to change any of the circumstances identified in the order, findings of fact or conditions, they need to notify the Office of the Zoning Administrator, who makes a determination as to the suitability, the appropriateness of that change, because the Board of Zoning Adjustment approved the application based on the initial specifications. So here we have a circumstance in which Murray School, which, as many of you know, is developing athletic fields on a 5-acre parcel of land that it has leased and now is entering into an agreement to purchase from the Episcopal Center for Children. And in developing that athletic complex, they have a couple of items that they're actually going to be changing just slightly. The first is that they're going to be erecting 30-foot poles to hold netting that will keep balls, footballs, soccer balls, but particularly baseballs, from leaving the field when the kids are playing on the field. And initially, they had specified light-colored, not necessarily white, but light-colored poles for the netting. So think 30 feet tall and the netting and so forth. Now they have, on the advice of their contracting firm, been advised that they should use a dark color, which will absorb the light as opposed to reflecting the light and therefore being less of a potential nuisance to the neighbors. And Murray has said yes to that. So given the BZA order has indicated the light colored poles, it needs to be modified. That's number one. And we do not have any opposition to this in the neighborhood, so I'm in support of it and recommending to the commission that we support it. The second has to do with the goalposts for the football goalposts. They're going to build a multi-purpose sports field in addition to a baseball field. And for the football field, initially to the BZA order, they specified that those posts would be 20 feet tall, by which they meant 20 feet above the base on which the uprights rest. So a goalpost goes like this, right? And that base is 10 feet, and then 20 feet are the uprights. Initially, they said to the Board of Zoning Adjustment that they would be 20 feet total, by which they meant the uprights. So it's just a nomenclature semantic thing. They're going that back and clarifying that in total, they'll be 30 feet. That's it. The third thing is that in the BZA order, in the northwest corner of the property, if you know the neighborhood, it's where the alleys behind Utah and Rittenhouse meet in the northwest corner of that property. There is going to be a 9,000 square foot park let open green space that the community can use as part of the community benefits that Murray has pledged to the community. And Murray, having some conversations with a few neighbors, thought they would enclose it. The BZA order does not specify an enclosure. So if they're going to enclose it, they'd have to amend the order and have it changed. Now, upon further consideration, they don't wish to enclose it, so they're adhering to the BZA order and everything's good. So those are the three things: light to dark colored posts, 30 feet as opposed to 20 feet uprights that were really always going to be 30 feet, and then no enclosure at the back of the property. I've talked to Murray extensively about this. I told them I would represent these issues. I would get the concurrence of the commission, and I would do for the commission's review a letter to the Office of the Zoning Administrator expressing our concurrence. So what I'm asking my fellow commissioners to do is join with me in concurring on these proposed changes.
Commissioners, are there any questions?
Can I just say, this is a case, and I know you agree with me, Bruce, where we should have posted this stuff. I mean,
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
we should have posted this stuff a week in advance.
Well, I've actually presented this in December at the meeting and have discussed it, but
We both talked about getting
Oh,
stuff
okay.
up on the website.
Yeah, and we talked, we had several meetings on the Murray Task Force, but in any event, I take your point.
Okay.
Any community questions before we vote? Okay,
All right, so I move that we approve. Do I have a second?
second.
Yep. All in favor, raise your hands. Great. Anyone opposed? No? Any abstentions? No? 7-0. Okay, thank you. The second item, I'll just roll right into it. In September, the ANC passed a resolution after lots of conversation, discussion, as many of you will recall, calling on Murray as well as other playing field operators in the District of Columbia to consider the use of natural grass over artificial turf. And in that resolution, we included a provision that if Murray chose to proceed with artificial turf products, the commission would explore testing of the products for the presence of PFAS. Again, if you followed this issue, you know that PFAS has become a major issue in all kinds of consumer products, not just artificial turf. But artificial turf is a product that has contained PFAS because it's used in the manufacture of the plastic blades to enable a clean extrusion of the plastic blades out of the molds. That's a technical explanation of why the PFAS gets in there. It's not put in the plastic to begin with. It's used in the manufacturing process. But it results in the fact that artificial turf has PFAS. And all artificial turf tested to date that I'm aware of, that we're aware of, has been tested and has been shown to have it. Shaw Sports Turf is the company that Murray is using, and they have affirmed to Murray that the products Murray is purchasing for use do not have PFAS. And given our resolution, I'm proposing that we do a test. And so I have approached one of the leading testing labs in the country, Eurofins in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and provided to the commission a cost estimate of right at $4,000 to conduct a test to determine, in fact, if the products Murray is proposing to use have PFAS or not. So we're verifying the claims of Murray's vendor. The other thing we're doing, and I want to mention this to you because I think it's important. The District of Columbia passed in 2018 a Safe Playground and Fields Act. And one of the provisions of the act was that the Department of Energy and Environment in the district needed to affirm that no toxic chemicals were in the synthetic materials used in playgrounds in the district. In this case, the act only concerned public fields, not private. So here we're actually, in the spirit of that, looking at testing for a toxic substance. So I think it's consistent with what DC law broadly, even though it didn't include private fields, is aiming to determine. So my proposal here is that the commission concur with the test and that we allocate the amount of money right at $3,990, whatever it is, almost $4,000 to conduct the test. Questions, comments?
Commissioner Goslin.
Yeah, I want to raise two issues here. The first is I support the idea of testing in principle. I voted for the resolution. I don't, at least as a former officer of the commission, I was not party to this request for a quote, and I want to be sure that we get other quotes. The substantive question I have is, the issue I have is this. The problem of PFAS is that they are now omnipresent. They are everywhere. And the question is, what are we testing? The standard that I understand from doing some research on this, because we devoted most of the summer to talking about this, is that the standard that states that are imposing bans on PFAS in turf set is that there is no intentionally added PFAS in the product. And so that really has to do with Shaw's manufacturing process. I mean, if we were to pick a piece of turf from the turf that Murray now has, presumably somewhere in this neighborhood, I assume it would have PFAS because this neighborhood and most of the world is infested with it. So we need to make some decision among ourselves about what exactly we're testing, what product at what stage.
So all of those are good points. The protocols for the testing, I discussed extensively with Eurofins, who does this and has tested artificial turf and tested many, many different products for PFAS. We would be testing a product that came directly from Shaw Sports Turf. It would not be a product that had been in the environment. It would be handled so as to prevent any contamination en route from the manufacturer to the facility in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So your point's well taken. PFAS is everywhere. That's very true. What we're trying to gauge here before the artificial turf goes in, because once it does go in, then you do have the contamination problem from any PFAS that already might be in the soil and in the surrounding area. We're trying to determine if what's going in has PFAS in it because we're concerned about adding any more to the environment, given all the concerns by the EPA and others about PFAS. Just with respect to other labs, I can look into this. I did get the recommendation from several experts in the field of Eurofins. That's the reason I spoke to them. And as you can imagine, this is kind of a rarefied circumstance and testing protocol for this. So, but I will look into additional bids. Yes. Cynthia?
Hi, so I have two. The first, you mentioned the Act from 2018. Is this applicable to Murray because the public will have access to use the field?
Well, that's a really good question, although the act specifically talks about public fields.
Right.
But yes, the public will have access to the fields. So by extension, you might argue that it's quasi-public, but it is privately owned.
Yes, so I just wanted to confirm that. So are they technically required to do that since it's private?
No.
So I was just trying to connect the act and
No,
this
the
field.
act, I was referring to the act because I believe what we're doing is in the spirit of the act. The act does not concern
Okay.
private fields.
Right, and I
Right.
just wanted, did we do the same when St. John's updated their field in the spirit of the act?
We
I
did
just-
not.
Okay.
Yeah, we did not know that it was happening at the time. We've discussed, I agree with you. If we had known or if they're going to put a new field in the future, we absolutely should test.
Okay, and then my last question is, in the event we do test it and it's positive, what is the end result? So what are we seeking? Are we gonna have them change? I just want to make sure we're being good stewards of funding, of money. So we're gonna test it. If it's positive, what happens? If it's negative, I know that's wonderful.
Not to evade the answer, it is somewhat a bridge we come to, we cross when we get there. I would say this, that the claim has been made that the products do not have PFAS. We have surrounding neighbors who have expressed to this commission many, many times their concerns about chemical toxins in the product because they're adjacent to the field. And I won't trouble everyone here with the details and the data from the 3 town halls that I held in March through May with 18 national experts on artificial turf and natural grass. But among those experts was Professor Graham Peasley at Notre Dame University, professor of physics, who's one of the leading experts in the country and the world in testing products for PFAS. He has his own lab at Notre Dame, but it's not a commercial lab. However, he has affirmed that the leaching of PFAS off of one artificial turf field on an annual basis will contaminate 800,000 gallons of groundwater. I can send everybody the link. This is not coming from a newcomer to the field. It's coming from a renowned expert. So there is legitimate concern about adding PFAS to the community. In terms of what the actual cost is going to be, so you know, it's $3,932. That's the quote from the company.
Commissioner Sherman, let me ask you a question. So you said you were going to reach out to others. Is your motion still on the floor?
Well, my motion is still on the floor. I have, I reached out to Eurofins on the basis of recommendations from a number of people in the field who understand a lab that can actually do this. Imagine there are very, very few organizations that can do this. Here's the point, not to belabor this, but so you understand. EPA has declared that it is in parts per trillion that PFAS is toxic, per trillion. So if you run a test on a given product for the presence of PFAS, your testing has to be extraordinarily sensitive. So it's quite possible that an artificial turf product can be tested, and if it's for parts per billion, it may not show any presence of PFAS. They have to be able to do very refined testing. That's why I landed on Eurofins, because they can do it. Now, if I'm going to go out and look at alternatives, I can. the one thing that I'm mindful of is we've heard from Array in terms of their intention to install their artificial turf in the coming month or so. So it is a matter of some urgency that we proceed with this. I will do this. I will commit to the commission that I will in the next few days, once again, go back to the experts who referred me to Eurofins and ask them for all other labs and be in touch and let you know if I found another lab. I would just not want a lengthy due diligence process to keep us from moving forward.
Could I suggest that rather than just you alone going out, that, for example, the two of us pursued those.
We can, Commissioner Gosselin, but I really want to stress that I don't want this to become a red tape exercise in which we go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole trying to find a laboratory. I really want us to proceed expeditiously and get this done. And the company that's been recommended is by all accounts one of the leading labs in the world to do this.
Okay.
I would be happy to work expeditiously with you.
Yep, Commissioner Fennessy.
Hi, I have to follow up on Corinthia's question, though. Let's just say worst case scenario that we find PFAS. Is there any leverage other than political power? There's nothing legally that would keep Murray from installing that PFAS laden material, right? There's nothing.
They could
legal.
go ahead and install it, but you see, the thing is, of course, is that with the knowledge that it has it in it going in, it means that any subsequent testing, had we not done the test now, would be flawed because there could be environmental contamination. It's very difficult to ascertain if the field caused the PFAS or if it already existed in the environment. That's why it's necessary to do it before you install it. And that's why these products are tested. Let me just also refer to the fact that I don't want to say that it is an artificial turf industry sleight of hand, but it is something that anyone following this super closely understands. When they say no intentionally added PFAS, they mean by that it's not in the plastic they're using. It's in the extrusion process added to keep the blades from sticking to the mold. And that's how the PFAS gets in artificial turf. So no, it doesn't have intentionally added PFAS, but as a result of the manufacturing, it's got PFAS anyway.
So, Commissioner Sherman, I just want to be clear. Do we still have a motion?
I have a motion to move forward.
Okay, I
If-
call for the
yeah,
vote.
Yeah, if Commissioner Gosselin would like to amend that by saying, we will take whatever, 3 or 4 days to try to find other labs and get another quote, I'm happy to pursue that in the spirit of collegiality.
I'd like to amend it to just say that Gosselin and Sherman will work on the issue expeditiously to find, to just explore other labs and possible quotes.
Okay, I'm all for this, but I just want to stress, there's urgency to this, and I think it's in the interest of our community, the people I represent, to determine whether or not the claims made that the products don't have PFAS are correct, and whether, and to safeguard the interest of my neighbors who are very, very concerned about this.
I understand. So, but just so I understand, are you accepting my amendment?
Of course.
Thank you.
I would like to make a point.
Okay,
please.
we got 2 commissioners that want to make a point. I did call for the vote. I will take that off the table so that you guys can make your vote, your comment, but we're at 8:33, so just try to be quick.
Why are we looking for additional labs? Is it a matter of cost?
Is that a question to me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that this is a very complicated issue about just, for example, where we're going to test. But I also, at least I, as a former officer, was never party to the solicitation of this quote. So I think that it's incumbent on us, just so I understand about, or so the whole commission understands what the range of expertise is and whether, for example, some testing organizations specialize in one part of this. I mean, I've had conversations over the summer with people about the Notre Dame specialist about what his testing methods exactly show. So just because this was a quote sought and received by Commissioner Sherman, I think it's incumbent upon us to find out what the range.
Why don't you think Commissioner Sherman can handle this on his own?
I just want to note it's 8:34.
Yeah, let me go.
Can I make one other suggestion?
Yeah.
Maybe as a start, Commissioner Gosselin, would you be amenable to doing a call with Eurofins and me to see if you can ask questions of them and they can satisfy you? If that, maybe it's the first step.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The only thing I'd ask you is that let me take at least a half day to bone up on the general issue after having lost some of the expertise I developed this summer.
Okay, I call for the vote, which means immediate cease to discussion. Commissioner Sherman, could you repeat your motion with
Yeah,
the
my
friendly amendment?
motion is to approve the bid, the proposal we have gotten from Eurofins based on Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to test the Shaw Sports Turf products Murray has chosen to use at the Episcopal Center for Children with a cost of $3,932. Subject to a call that we would have with Eurofins, Commissioner Goslin and I, to address questions that he has that would help satisfy his concerns about whether this is the right lab to do it and so forth.
Is there a second? Second, okay. Commissioners, all those in favor say aye. Raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstention? Passes 7-0. Thank you. Thank you for that discussion. So we are at 8:36. Are there any announcements other than what was discussed earlier? 1 minute, Commissioner Fennessy.
Hi, yes. You may know that in November, DPR and DGS had a meeting, which is basically a Zoom presentation about some upcoming projects, and they tend to start another phase in the Lafayette Pointer Park. Some of erosion control. The erosion control that was done towards the field in the middle and kind of southern part of the park was done this summer without any input from the community. So I will be looking to maybe host some Zooms or to have people give a chance to give input, because DPR and DGS have indicated we will get only 3 meetings. And the way they've been running these meetings is basically presenting slides, only letting people talk in the chat and selectively answering questions. So perhaps coming up with our own ideas and needs ahead of time will help us perhaps have more input into the project, because it was virtually none in the first phase of the erosion project.
Okay, Commissioner Simmons?
Hi, so on January 17th from 12 to 1:30, I will be welcoming the community out to Starbucks. I'll have coffee available if anyone would like any, but this opportunity will be my engagement with the community at least once a quarter. So please come out if you have the time, and I will alternate days and locations for the community to gather. When it gets warmer, I will be back knocking doors, because a lot of my constituents, when I was out, mentioned that they would like to come to the ANC meetings, but it's not convenient. So that will be my way of extending and reaching out to members in Single Member District 05. And then lastly, for the rest of the commission, I'm still co-chair of our Racial and Social Equity Committee of the ANC. We would like to, I'll send emails out, but we will formally like to invite you all to our windows display that we're doing in conjunction with historic Chevy Chase DC, as well as Chevy Chase Main Street. We're going to have several presentations to the community to talk about the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So I would love that all of our commissioners come out to that presentation on January 25th. You'll receive an official invite from me shortly. And if you can't attend, there will be others. So I hope you all will participate and raise. That is all. Thank you.
I'll
email it to him.
Commissioner Grunwald?
I just have a quick question about Corinthia's meet and greets. I believe you said they were ongoing.
Yes,
Is this being sponsored by the ANC?
No, it is being sponsored by myself. So this is my way to meet the people that I've spoken with who said they can't come to ANCs. So this is just something that I would like to do. I don't think you all really know me, but I'm very sociable. I like to get together with people. So that's just one of my personal.
Are there costs involved?
I'm gonna get some coffee. I haven't really thought about it. would you like to contribute or?
No, I'd just like to understand, if we, other commissioners would like to do something similar.
This isn't something I'm seeking. I think I remember the training. There's no food involved, so I like to spend my money how I like to spend it. So, if people would like to come out and have coffee, I will buy one of those big travelers. They're $22. It can, get up to like 20 cups of coffee. I do this at work all the time. So it's just something that I would like to do, but feel free to do similar things if you would like to.
Okay, any other commissioner announcements? I am trying to put my announcement in the chat, and it's not going through, so I will put it in a newsletter and hopefully get it to you guys. But basically, Greenville Street, most of my neighbors know this. I'm doing a walkthrough on Greenville Street on Wednesday regarding a fire hydrant issue. There's also information out there about volunteer snow removal services if you need them, as well as signing up for a sidewalk exemption. From our Ward 3 Moker, Kendall Gibson, Ward 3 manager. The MLK, she writes, Holiday Parade and Peace Walk is on the 18th. I'll try to put that in the chat, as well as we've had several commissioners point to the 60th presidential inauguration, as well as the link where you can find out information on that inauguration. Yes.
Responding to the chat.
Oh, I didn't see.
There was something in the chat, somebody wrote in about the latest about streetlights to block the obnoxious overpowered lights. Yeah, so I met with Christian Panero over Zoom. He is the constituent representative for DDOT, and we talked in December. I spoke with him about the many prematurely closed out tickets from last year. And so now that I am commissioner, we can look at either refiling those with 311 or putting in new requests. So I would ask the constituent there to email me, and I can walk them through a City Works request, and I can also get the ticket numbers, work orders, and give Christian a personal heads up that these are out there. I am very concerned about the overlighting. Many of them are way too bright, and I can go down a big rabbit hole, but I'll be quiet now.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to committee update. ZDD, none, I'm assuming. Do we have any updates from race? 1 minute, quick update?
You got it. She already did it.
No. All right, I'm moving quick. Murray Project Task Force, I don't see them here or online, and I think Commissioner Sherman covered most of that. Transportation Committee, I think y'all gave a good update but come on. Michaela, you got 1 minute.
This is a sort of frustration.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
understand.
sorry, I'm going to say what I always say. We really need to start focusing seriously on transportation issues in this community. And this happened all of last year and seems to be happening again this year, that we get short shrift, we're stuck at the end, and then you're given 1 minute. It's not how you treat an issue that affects every single
Excuse me,
person
could you
in
introduce
this
yourself,
community.
please? I don't know.
It's not the way you treat an issue that affects every single member of this community that steps outside their house. And in the 30 seconds I probably have left, I did prepare, because that's what I do. But I really wish we could all coordinate. Commissioner Sherman, I'm really surprised to hear that you've been doing all this outreach with WMATA. We didn't hear about this. We've been working as part of the bus transportation working group tirelessly on this issue. So perhaps in the future, we could coordinate who you're speaking to so that we're talking together with WMATA and not separately. These are issues that affect us, not just members of your SMD.
No, yeah.
It's frustrating, to be really honest.
No, I'm perfectly happy to coordinate. It's that we're commissioners.
No,
You're a
a
committee.
constituent.
Yeah, I understand. And I am obviously going to serve my constituents and representing their interests. And I support what you're doing and have built on your work and have publicized your work, have popularized your work.
Well, you haven't
And
done
now
either of
with-
those.
And now with Knollwood, we're addressing specific issues with Knollwood management that they're taking directly to WMATA. So I think it's,
I'm just pleading with you to coordinate with us because you don't share information with us. We share information with the commission. with everybody best we can, and all we need to do is coordinate. And I don't really like being dismissed, because that's what's happening each and every time. I come here, I sit in the back of the room, and then I'm given 1 minute to speak. And maybe next time we could go towards the front. That's all that needs to
Right.
happen, so that we're given our at least 3 minutes to present. And this happened when Commissioner Nash was here, and it's happening again this year.
Okay.
And I just think it's unacceptable.
Okay, we, as a commission, are gonna work on our agenda, and, we're gonna work with, the committees on their reports as well. I would encourage you to send us, Michaela, your committee report so that we can publish that. And that way we'll have it submitted to, we will. I saw that email, and all the commissioners have it as well. In terms of commission business, we don't really have a secretary's report. Commissioner Sherman passed around the December 9th, meeting minutes. I encourage everyone to review those. We don't have a treasurer's report, but we will have to get with you, Corinthia, really soon, because we have a, report due on February 1st. In terms of possible dates and agenda items for an administrative meeting, I'll send an email around, and Commissioner Sherman, we can get together and kind of discuss that. Items for the January 27th meeting, we still have that pretty much open, but Civic Corps RFP update should be high up on that agenda. I'm removing the Greenville fire hydrant replacement project. I heard from the project engineer that they do not need a resolution, just commissioner concurrence. And I'll be doing a community meeting on, this Wednesday with Greenville folks to get that done. So with that,
Could I just say one thing, just a reminder to all commissioners, we have to report our spending for running for office by February 3rd. You should have received a notification about this, but just put that on your calendars.
so with that, community members, I'm calling a meeting adjourned. Time is what, 8:46? If you all, thank you.
Please put your chairs up.
Please put your chairs up.